Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to another video. This was the original video that I was going to shoot today. So if you are finding this video, on a day besides the day that I uploaded it, I did a video on Rob Liefeld book Youngblood. But this was my original plan for today. But I really did want to look at this. So I'm a big Chris Samnee fan. I have only known his work for a couple of years. I can't remember like exactly when I was first like exposed to it. I think I might have first seen it maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, but didn't really pick up on it until maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But he's really, really good. And I go through different phases where I'm really into like certain styles of art or levels of detail or whatever it is. And I had gotten kind of into like Alex Toth maybe a year or so ago, but really took a deep dive into Toth and was looking at just anything that I could find online. I would go on like Wikipedia and just try to find every comic that he had done and just to check him out. So I got really into that, and Bruce Timm and things kind of along the lines of this more stripped down style Darwin Cook, and really like Chris is very creative. He's really solid. The stuff is dynamic. So this will be really fun. I have not seen this book. I have not read the issues yet. So this is going to be a first look for me. And then what I did is there will be kind of spoilers. Like if you've never read this comic at all, like you're going to see some of the pages. I only did about, I think I grabbed 12 pages from the book. So there's maybe half or like a third left of the book, and then I have some of the noir pages, so it should be really fun. We'll look at the color stuff first, and then we'll look at the noir, black and white versions of these. The irony is, I think I could actually turn this black and white. Watch. I'm going to show you my skills. Watch this. I'm going to do it right now. Look, we got a noir edition right now. Look at that. No, but it's the DC noir that I'm going to show you. But for some comic styles, I can do this. This is, but this cover is great. Like his Robin is awesome. It's always impressive to me because there's certain things that make something look like what it is. A good example is like Robin's cape here. Like he's got a great shape. Like you can see the shape of the cape, like the back of it and stuff like that. These sort of flared edges here and stuff like that. I mean, it's like it makes sense, and he gives you exactly the amount of information that he needs to make it work. And it's a really impressive thing. It's like people that can do 3 folds on a jacket and it looks great, or one crease on a sleeve and you go, wow, man, it looks exactly like what I would think it would look like. So I'm not positive. I tried to make it where these would go in order. It may or may not. But anyway, we'll check this out. So we got Bruce and Alfred. I was thinking about Bruce Wayne today. Like this isn't directly related to Chris Samnee, but it is an interesting thing. So there's a lot of different ways to draw Batman. When I say Batman, I mean Batman in his costume. But then there's the leap that you have to make from the guy that's in the Batman costume to what Bruce Wayne would look like. And there's many different versions of Batman, but I sometimes think of like sort of like evil, creepy Batmans, and then it's or like one that's really huge, like a real big Batman, and then you kind of imagine like how does that work with Bruce Wayne? And it's a weird thing. I mean, definitely with comics you can kind of forego reality, but I would consider this a believably proportioned Batman that Bruce Wayne, excuse me, that could be Batman. I like his Alfred. It's nice. It's funny because I'm obsessed with faces right now, but I like that like there's no sort of nostril ridge here, and like not even the indication of like the kind of tip of the nose, but it works. It's tough stuff, man. What to keep in, what to keep out. Like here he did it like a little different. You can see it's a nice profile. This is great. I think we talked about something similar. Oh, it was the Paul Pope story. And I was talking about how like I consider someone like Paul Pope very courageous with his art. Now Chris is more, it's a more I hate to use the word conservative. It's a more like Paul's a little more punk rock, or it's got like a little bit more of like a stylized filter that he puts on everything. But you know, like I think for more minimalistic styles, and I don't consider this simple art. This stuff takes a long time to fill in all the blacks and stuff like this takes forever. It's actually stuff like this can be really a lot more time consuming than people imagine. But for someone like me who likes work like this, but then also has done very detailed work, it you in a weird way you almost can't go back and forth. I really feel like it's nearly impossible once you get the wheels in motion and people expect your work to be a certain way. We'll say detailed versus more minimalistic. Although again, I don't really consider this minimalist. It's really tricky to get your fans to get on board for it. I think if you stick it out for several years, you might be able to. But I mean, like this is a beautiful, beautiful panel. So good. The shot and everything is just great. Wayne Manor is an interesting thing too. Yeah. So this is Wayne Manor. I mean, I assume that there's like sort of a standard Wayne Manor that people use. I don't know if like DC provides the reference. I've inked books that have Batman. I mean, I've worked on Batman for a few years, but oh, here's the cover in black and white. So I guess it's not going to go in order. Oh, I know what it did. Hold on, I can fix it when we look at more color stuff. We might as well just look at this since it's open. This is nice. It kind of like it reminds me a little of what is his name? The guy that draws the Goon, Eric Powell. Like Eric Powell does these big like wrestler cauliflower ears. Like these guys look tough. This is great. I like this guy's face right here with the hat and the shadow on his face. His Batman is really really great too. Nice symbol. It's really fantastic piece. Chris does great commissions too. A couple like maybe a couple times a year he'll let me get out of this really quick. I think this will work. Yeah, let me do this. What it's doing is it's going in order from top to bottom, but what we want is we just want to see the color files first. And then we'll look at the noir. Although actually, it almost in a weird way, the colors are very nice on this. I didn't catch the credits. I'm not sure if we've seen the credits page yet, but oh no, it's a double page spread. It's coming up. I have a hunch who I think did the colors. Oh, it was on the cover actually. All right, what do we got here? Yeah, like this is crazy. This Two Faces, like the thing on it. It's really interesting. Like so, I worked at DC for about 16 years, through Wildstorm. So I was at Wildstorm working for DC. For people that don't know who I am, but I was a professional inker at the time. But I would get comps of all the books that DC did. So maybe like every 3 to 5 weeks they would send all the books down, and then they'd kind of pop them open, and you could go and you could grab in theory, like one copy of each of the comics that they released. And so I would always look at everything. It's kind of my thing. I mentioned in the other video that even when, like, if I go to the comic book store and it's new comic day, I'll look through every new book and just check everything out. So I would do the same with the comps. And you get to see a lot of different styles, and it is fascinating because comics is a commercial art. It's a pop art. It's there are trends that run through comics, and I mean I've just in the last like 5 to 10 years I see new styles that get kind of hot, and you see artists all kind of start to gravitate towards certain aesthetics, and it's just how it naturally goes. It's like anything, like music, whatever. But then you always have a group of artists, and they work in different styles, so it's not one style that's different than what's, we'll call it, hot or contemporary. But yeah, it's like, but you'll get this small group of people that like they kind of in their own like sort of universe, like the fix that you got from a Darwin Cook comic was very specific to Darwin Cook. I think Tom Mandrake kind of in a weird way falls into that category. Scott Hampton, I'm trying to think. There's another guy I'm thinking of. I think Michael Zulli. Yeah, they just have such unique styles that are so them that Enrique Breccia, I'm not sure how you say his name. His son, I think, is a professional artist now. But okay, so colorist is Matthew Lope. I'm not sure. This is nice. Yeah, I don't like for something like this. Like this is a really nice double page spread. If I drew something like this, my fans wouldn't really connect with it. I've established a different thing, and as much as I've tried to sort of lighten the mood and lighten the level of like rendering and stuff like that on my stuff, I feel like it's just not really what people want from me. I mean, it's pretty obvious when you're online, so it's interesting, being a big fan of this type of thing and then going like, yeah, they're not going to let me do this now. I always try to think of artists like Mobius or Otomo. I mean, Otomo's famous for Akira, but if you look at any of his art books, he's worked in like, a dozen different styles. So, yeah. I always like when they do this, where like the one, where the light source is, the light's coming from like kind of like in the middle towards us. So all the shadows on the buildings on this one side, it really looks great. And then the light's coming from the street. So a lot of times the rooftops will be black, which is always like super cool. It's a very, very cool style. But I mean, the thing is if you amplify the detail on something like this, I mean, you really do ultimately end up with sort of like a Mark Silvestri drawing or a Jim Lee piece. Their aesthetics isn't like this, but the foundation, the general idea of what's going on here is transferable. Sorry, I have to keep going out and grabbing the color files. Okay. Yeah, I really like the colors on this actually quite a bit. Really, really nice. Simple, but it looks good. It's so crazy. Like I haven't like I kind of mentioned at the end of the last video. A lot of times I'll reflect. I try to save it to the end of the video just because I just feel like it's a little rude to be too self-absorbed like in a video, but I'm doing it in this video too. But like this fist here for Batman, I work on drawings and I'll like fight with like a fist or a hand and the reflections on the glove and every knuckle, and I'm thinking of the skeleton underneath the then I see a fist like this, I'm like, man, like I'm just soaking it in. It's just interesting because my point being is I haven't really looked at comics in the last year, very little, to be honest. Like since I stopped shooting videos, I would be hard pressed to even name three comics that I looked at. So I have an iPad that I'll throw like a folder of artists' work on, but I'm trying to think. Like I was looking at James Jean a week or two ago. Hold on, I'm gonna get out of this and shut this. I always seem to circle back to Jay Lee. Like I always like Jay Lee stuff. So like I even yesterday I pulled out a bunch of Jay Lee art to look at because I just always get a kick out of his stuff. Who else was I looking at? Oh, Toth, like Toth. So Toth might have been the last rabbit hole that I went down, but that was kind of a long time ago now. But I really got into Toth. Like I was like, this is it. I'm going this direction. Then 3 weeks later, I'm like, oh, like I just go back to like, other ideas. His Commissioner Gordon's great. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like there's like no detail on his mustache at all. And this big thick black line around his hair is like so cool. This is great too. Huh. I mean, like there's like broad similarities to maybe someone like John Paul Leone. I mean, obviously the shadows and stuff like that. Tommy Lee Edwards is kind of got like a more detailed version of something like this. But I mean, it's they don't get maybe as cartoony, but I mean, I could definitely see those guys being a fan of this. Like these are great. Man, the colors are awesome. But these are really really nice. Let's check out the whole layout of the page. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like I don't know if like for you, okay, but like when I look at this page, so my eye does this. I focus in on Gordon. We've got this nice kind of circle shape. I always say a circle, any kind of circle shape will kind of make you pause. It's really really difficult for your eye to like move past the circle and not like it's stuck on it. So anytime you have anything like this or a box like a square, I mean it's gonna kind of lock the eye in. So you're gonna stop. So that's fine though, because it's like it's a moment. He's like waiting for Batman. He's looking for Batman. So this kind of creates a pause. But then you shoot down here, you kind of get him thinking, and then it's like then Batman shows up. There's almost in my mind a lit like a there actually is a beat between these, although as we see it in one panel. This is my own interpretation of this. Like Chris might hear this or see this. Not saying that he would watch my videos, but if he were, he might go like, "This guy's crazy." Is no like I was not even what I was thinking. But I do feel like I still pause here for a moment, and then Batman shows up. So anyway, and then Batman speaks. We get the reaction with Gordon. So you kind of you sort of move like you move here, you move here, you get this nice flow here. But when I circle back around, I do really end up I end up on this panel. Like the page for me ends right here, which is really really interesting. But if you look at this, you circle around and the foot even leads you to this panel, which is really really unusual storytelling. I mentioned in the video I did earlier today, there's two ways that usually you'll sweep out of a panel, and it's some artists will sweep you kind of back up this way, which is kind of what Chris is doing here, or you'll have a kind of a flow that goes out here. I definitely think it's more common for people to have you flow out this way, but sometimes you do this. But it's definitely unusual that you'll get sent here. Now I have seen pages that end where you sweep around this way and then sometimes it'll lead you back, so you get this weird kind of not weird, but it's weird, meaning it's an unusual like feel, but where yeah actually like it sort of pulls you here and then pulls you back over here, like almost as like a loop. But yeah, there's all kinds of sort of fun design things you can do with your layouts to create like fun shapes. So let's go back in full mode. And again, that's my interpretation of what I saw. Most of the time, most of these people more likely are kind of working on instincts. It's like, for me, like when I draw, I sort of defocus my eyes and I'm placing things, and you just kind of can feel when something isn't sitting where it should, or if a pose, I'm getting really, really picky, and it's becoming a problem. And so I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with myself on that, because it's like yesterday I was working on some like a piece, and it was like I think I'm being too picky. I almost need like I need an editor to like look at this stuff and say like, dude, stop. Left to my own devices, I'm too psycho. All right, so yeah, we got another nice one. Great Commissioner Gordon. This is really really cool. I love the Batman. Lee Bermejo said to me a long time ago. This is years and years ago. God, probably, geez, probably over 20 years ago. But he said that he didn't really like to show Batman's feet, although Lee can draw anything and does show Batman's feet. I thought that was a really interesting take on Batman, where it's like he should like it's okay to have him grounded, but it's kind of fun to like not see his feet in most shots. I mean, obviously if he's leaping or something, you might see his feet, but and I always kind of perceive Batman as a little bit of like an apparition, and here you can see that like the final shape that he gets you. Well, it's actually kind of cool. The bat signal actually kind of flips you around this way, and then you get this nice shot of Robin upside down, and then this takes you out this way. Let me. I think I can grab my brush. I mean, I know you can see what I'm talking about, but let me. But yeah, the this final panel, it sort of gives you this, and then you get this nice thing. But it works really good. I mean, you can clearly see that these do all kind of line up like that. So yeah, Chris is really good. And this is nice too. I mean, there's some really fun shapes going on here. It's actually a pretty lively page. And I'll be honest, I literally like sometimes I can't stand when I watch comic videos and people talk about shit like this. So if it's annoying you right now, I apologize because I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people are just like blowing smoke out their ass. It's like they'll be like, "Oh, yes, if you look at this panel, you can see the Cabinici sequence," and you're like, "Come on, dude! The guy just fucking drew the drawing. Like, get out of here." But anyway, here I am. All right, what do we got? We got a great Batman cape here. This is awesome. This is great too. I really like. I have to say, like, I'm really enjoying like how he does the bottom of Robin's cape. Like the back side of it is really cool. Like I feel like he's really respecting the amount of material that's here, and he's handling it well. I'm kind of more of a like I know 3 or 4 shapes that sort of make a cape look like it's behind someone, and to hell with everything else. It's like, maybe they won't look. But yeah, his actually feels like he kind of knows like how much material he's shoving around. And I will say, this is a beautiful panel, by the way. I'm not anti the cape getting bigger or smaller in certain scenes. Like I kind of think that that's fun. When, you know, like someone's standing, you know, the cape is, you know, like this big, but then they jump off a building and it, you know, it seems to get bigger. Like, I don't know. That doesn't really bug me. I mean, part of the fun of comics is stuff like that. Yeah, this is a great page. And again, beautiful colors. This is just so nice. Okay. All right. We got a splash page. Splish splash. Very cool. Okay. Let's see. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'll kind of speed up. The black and whites, we won't really need to stay on too long. It'll be kind of fun. Let's check them out, though. Yeah, this is nice. Kind of, again, reminding me a little bit of like a John Paul Leon type thing. This is really good. This is actually really fun. I like the levels that you get these down here. It's reminding me of the game a little bit. And I like the idea of these like little nooks and crannies and stuff like that. This is all very cool. This is nice. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, you can see a little bit of like similarities, and it's not saying that Chris and Paul Pope are influenced by each other, but if you do watch that Paul Pope video, I mean, some of the way that Chris approaches these things is a little bit similar. Like it's not fussy, you know. There's a real kind of spontaneity to it. This is nice rendering on this. This is cool too. I actually like that real simple face. And so this is an interesting thing I'll point out. Okay, like so in this, I wanted to zoom in. I was just making sure I hit the right button. This right here. Okay, so Chris may do this just naturally, but like there's a thing that Mignola will do where like at a certain size he'll draw an eye and it'll be like this. You know, like you'll have the pupil, you might have the brow, you might see the lids or whatever. And then, you know, if you're farther away from the face, then it's more this shape. And then If it's really far away, he'll almost always shadow in the whole eye socket. So then you're getting like this kind of thing. So for Chris here, what's interesting is he went for just basically a dot for the pupils, which is really, really cartoony. You know, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying anything that's not that, but you know, you could kind of, if you were trying to, you know, decode like an approach like this, those are kind of things that you need to sort of pay attention to, is like, what are the circumstances where the dot eyes appear, you know, where you know, where do they still have lashes and where do they know it? I mean, obviously there's a very strong light source because he's got shadows like on the under socket, you know, like because the light's coming from here, so the lower socket is getting some shadow. But yeah, I mean, those are little things that you can do because I mean, if you look at the like the eyes here, so he does have the dot eyes on Robin. Batman's got his, you know, Batman eyes, so there's no eyes. But like up here, you know, do you see what I'm saying though? It was kind of like when I was joking about the Mignola eye, where it's like you get that, you are getting the lid and you get a brow. So but yeah, there's kind of like a level of detail blueprint or footprint that artists will use. Say like even with hands, like when do you stop drawing creases on fingers, you know, and they just become silhouettes, you know, or outlines of hands, or you know, like how small of a figure, you know, do you start breaking lines or do whatever. This is great. So last color page, and then we'll look at the black and whites real quick. Again, this is it's so boiled down. I mean, the black and whites aren't going to be that much different. This is nice. It's in a weird way, it's almost like a little more quote unquote realistic than some of his other stuff. I don't know why it feels that way to me. Let me see if I can figure out why. I think it's kind of the structure of it, to be honest. Like the proportions kind of make it feel a little more real. And I don't know, like this right there, something about that just kind of, it has like a slight more realism. Man, this is great. Yeah, it's really cool. Okay, now we'll look at the black and whites, and we can look at them out of order. We don't need to, you know, go crazy. This is nice. Let's see how it reads. Is this? Yeah, it's nice. It's kind of cool. So this goes in. So we're going in on this panel, and then on this panel we come back out, and then on this one we go in. So again, it's you know, part the script sort of called for it, but it's kind of a neat thing that you've got, you know, like we're heading in, coming forward, and then we're going in. So pretty cool. This is nice. Nice shot. I'm keeping them far away because I just want to see the read of the full page. Kind of again, it's like I almost defocus my eyes, so I'm not when I'm looking at a page like this, I'm really not looking at the detail or the small stuff as much as just like where does my eye go, and then the patterns that are created by the drawings and kind of what the content is on it. And again, I mean, in this, he does have sort of, we're heading into this scene. We're coming towards us in this one. Then in this, we're going into Robin, out. And then this is just badass. That's so good. Gobbledygook, gobbledygook. Oh yeah, this is great. You know, Eduardo Rizzo, like when I saw this, it kind of made me think of Rizzo. Eduardo Rizzo has a Kickstarter going that might be like interesting for people. Rizzo is great. He in some ways, I feel like he's a little underrated. Like Hunter Bullets, he was getting sort of more exposure. It felt that way, that like, it was a pretty much a monthly book, if not definitely a monthly book. He did 100 issues of it. And, the last few years, you don't hear about him as much, but Rizzo is a legit badass. He's done some great shit. He did a Batman miniseries. There's all kinds of stuff that he did. Another miniseries, I think, was it Spaceman? Shoot, I don't want to guess. Something like that. It was really good too. But yeah, Rizzo is great. So we had some Rob Liefeld today, and then Chris Samnee. That's like two different worlds, but maybe not. Maybe it's one world. One love. Let's get together. All right. Oh, that's nice, Gordon. Okay. Yeah, man, that's so cool. This is great shit. It's almost a shame that they didn't do this Noir book as an artist edition type approach. I do think that it looks great like this, but it would be fun to see like a little bit of his sketchy lines and a little bit more of the organic feel that the artist edition experience kind of gives you. I'm trying to think. I got one artist edition in the last 6 or 7 months. Oh, I got the Frank Miller Daredevil. Where is it? Oh, yeah. I got the Frank Miller Daredevil finally. I hadn't got it when it originally came out because I either I was short on money or I had so many artist editions I didn't know like if I was gonna have room for them, something like that. But yeah, I picked that up. It's really cool. I haven't looked at it in a couple months, or maybe a month or two, but it is great. Yeah, it's cool. The Batmobiles. It looks almost like a toy. Okay. And let's see here. Yeah, it's nice. Banner. No, 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 no. All right. And we got this. Yeah, see now, like on these smaller faces, he kind of does more of an eye shape. You know what I mean? Like you're getting the like the lash. Sorry, I'm in Photoshop, not Clip Studio, so I don't have as much of a taper on this. This is like the pencil tool or something. It looks, but you know what I'm saying? Like he's kind of approaching the eye from far away is a little bit more like this kind of thing, where the one he just had the shadow and then the little like dot for the eye. This is kind of more similar. Works though, and he's still got the nice cranium shape right there. Yeah, it's crazy. This is a very unforgiving style, though, to be honest. Like, to do faces like this, it may look easy, but it really isn't. And in fact, it can be really unforgiving because your proportions really, really have to be accurate. And on top of it, like every kind of thing that you put down is so important. And then to keep it consistent is difficult, to make sure that in all your different shots, it's going to like read the same. So it's definitely an art form in itself. This is so good. Man, it's just brilliant. It's funny too because like if you were teaching someone to draw and like on the surface you were trying to explain to someone how to do a panel like this, the idea of doing all these bushes in black is so foreign to someone who's learning because we kind of learn sort of from this. Well, you should learn structure to surface, but obviously like when we look at art and we're in experience, we see the detail. And so like, I'll have people go like, how would you draw sand? Or you know, gravel or you know, something that's really really complex. And it's like, I mean, you can do it. I mean, I've sat and stippled, you know, sand for 5 hours before on a drawing. It can be done. It's not very time efficient for comic book stuff, but the idea of actually just knocking out full bushes in black, you know, you really got to go all in on it and really commit to it. And it needs to balance with the rest of your language. Like if you do this here, and then here you get tempted and you want to start putting in like a lot of leaves, it can start to either undermine what you did here, or it can make this feel out of place. So there's a level of balance that you kind of need for your ideas. These little bat silhouette's nice. But yeah, it's an interesting. They're interesting challenges. This is just an ad. Okay, so we did it. So yeah, so I wanted to throw up a second video today. I had to make some phone calls in between the videos and did a few things. I called my dad. We've got people contacting me through 23andMe that are relatives, and they had like a bunch of old photos. It was really cool to see photos of my grandparents when they were young. I saw a picture of my grandma. She was like, man, I don't even know, 15 or 16 years old. It was crazy. I'd never seen her that young. It was really, really cool. But anyway, that's what I'm up to. No. Like I said, I've been doing a bunch of family stuff, so it's like it's really time consuming because normally, you know, I don't know, everyone's different, like with how much you keep in touch with your family, but you know, normally I would talk to my parents every few weeks in the past, but for a while I was like talking to my mom and dad like almost every day. So, not my mom as much, but my dad I was calling every day because he wasn't well for months, and so it was like, you know, making sure he was all right. But anyway, so look, that was really, really fun. Chris is great. Like I said, he's one of my favorite artists in the last year. And you know, I really was into like his work, Alex Toth, and again, like all Toth. I was looking at everything I could find. Bruce Timm, to a lesser extent. I kind of like, I love Bruce Timm stuff. Don't take this the wrong way. What I mean is, it was more the idea of Bruce Timm, like boiling things down to such a direct, like, you know, like it's like these are the lines that make up this drawing and like nothing extra. But you know, ultimately I've just established what I do is a different thing, and so it's like as much as I try to fight it, like I'm never gonna probably be able to do it until later. But that's all right. It's okay. So let's see what else. Anything else when we wrap this up? My cats say hi. The mic is on the mic stand, so we didn't get a bunch of ambient like rattling of the mouse on my wood desk. I don't know if any of you guys took advantage of the Tashin sale, but about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Tashin did, I think it was like a 50 or 60% off sale. So I was like pretty tempted to grab some books from them, but I'm kind of on a no books can come in phase right now until I get rid of some stuff. So have to stick to that as I'm out of room. I don't have any. We have a small house and I don't have a ton of storage space. So the idea of having 50 million books, it just doesn't work anymore. I collected all I could collect. I always say to my friend James, what's up? I know you always will watch my video to the end because you're the best. James is rocks. But yeah, I always tell James, it's like, I wish that, I mean, it sounds stupid because it's like, oh, talk about first world problems. But like, I think if I had actually like 50% less books, I would actually enjoy the books that I had more because I'd be able to get to the stuff that I really want to see. You know, everything wouldn't be cramped or in boxes or like books behind books or whatever it is. But, you know, in my defense, it was like, I mean, I've been collecting comics for 30 years. It's a long time. And then as a professional, I have sorry, I'm going to shut this. It's like a helicopter or slight flyby. But I have tons of books that I worked on. So you know what I mean? Like in my career, I've done, easily probably 200 comics. So I have comps of all those. I have trade paperbacks of those. I have hardcovers. I have collected editions of collected editions that have them. And I don't keep a lot of those, but that adds up too. And then just, the comics and stuff that I liked, I like so many different artists. It's tough to, just be like all, oh, I guess I'll just get rid of all of my, whatever, you know, I mean, we could go down the list. I'm going to throw out a bunch of random names of artists that I love that are all different styles. Ryan Sook is great. Ashley Wood. I'm into Carnivale, who did all the covers for Why the Last Man Standing. I like Gabriel Ba. What else? Silvestri, John Buscema, Jack Kirby, Walter Simonson. I mean, it's a mess. Not to mention all my manga books. I've got Anders Zorn. I'm looking at my bookshelf now. Anders Zorn. I've got like a Lipke art book. I've got Chuck Jones, all the Star Wars stuff. Joe Johnston, McFarlane, James Jean, Herb Ryman, the Disney artist. Frazetta, of course. Mignola. I've got my Intron Depot, Shiro, Atomo. Let's keep going. Come on, friends. What else John Singer Sargent, J.C. Leindecker. I've got we would never even get through it all. What else? What's on the top shelf over here? We've got the art of Frozen, the art of Moana, the art of Hercules. We've got Kaba, Atomo. We have the Fables covers by James Jean. I have my Kelly Jones Batman graffiti. What do they call them? They have a different name for theirs. They call them... They're not artist editions. They have another name for them. I can't think of it. My Bernie Wrightson Artifact edition. I have the Art of Mulan. I have Jim Lee Icons. I have Walt Disney Imagineering. I have the Vatine. Oh, that book was good. Lamort Vivante, the Vatine book that he spent years on. Of course, I've got my Giger. Oh, that was what I got. I got the H.R. Giger Taschen book, the XXL one of that. That's great. I've got my Nirasawa books, Bernie Wrightson, A Look Back. We'll have to do some Open That books. I just hate filming them. I do like them, but I'm just not set up to do them. I have Paul Bonner, Kaba 2 on a different shelf for some reason. Simon Bisley, the studio book, Tarada. What else? I've got the Essential Wolverine, Jack Ham. I've got some Japanese books. I can't see what the titles are. I have all my framed books, like 7 of those, 6 or 7 of those. What else? Oh, and then I have all my guitar books. I don't really want to get into those. All right, so look, blobbity blah blah blah. All the Chris Samnee fans are like, who the hell is this idiot? It's me, Rich. All right, you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later. I love you all, and have a good night. And I'll be back soon with another video. All right, bye.